All right, I think we are live. Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we're obviously back for another trading stream, civil signals, whatever. Okay, now you might see DeepSeek on the screen. Don't worry, we're not spending the whole stream, testing it and looking at it. I do have some tweets. I found some tweets. I just want to talk about DeepSeek and just thought I'd bring some tweets up about it. So obviously, similar to how we did yesterday. Talk about a bit about stuff what's going on. Obviously, this is a big thing. I did want to talk about it. Then we'll go straight into the charts. It's not going to take as long as I did last stream. I'm not going to spend like 15 minutes on tweets, whatever. Spend a couple minutes on it, and then we can move on to the charts. I'll actually be able to look at more than Bitcoin and Solana. Obviously, we'll have a quick look at them because, again, what's kind of happened recently has kind of changed pretty much everything I talked about on Friday. So I'm glad I'm be able to stream today. I'm glad I'm able to actually talk about the things I talked about on Friday, because pretty much everything's changed. It's kind of hopefully again it's a bit of an uncertainty thing going on, but again, I'll give my opinions on it. Obviously, give how I could see it happening, and I'm gonna have to give some different price areas potentially for obviously Bitcoin, Solana, and see what's going on, because obviously this has not helped. We will get onto the tweets. Obviously, if you have been around the block within the time this has taken to happen, you'll know pretty much everything has gone down. Obviously, we'll get onto one of the tweets I have. The entire US stock market has completely crashed. Not completely crashed. I didn't mean it's all gone completely down. Is in it's everything's down basically. Obviously this is kind of why, because everyone got really scared. But I'm yapping about stuff. I know about the start time. I'm still technically in the intro. I'm introing the content. Don't worry. I'm going to start the time in a minute. But thank you all for joining me. Welcome to you all. I'm going to read some names out in the chat. In Agendas, shout out to you. KB, shout out to you as well. And Kishan, it's been a while. It's been a while, Kishan. Nice to see your name. Nice to see you guys. Hopefully you guys have been doing well today. But and there was a poll. Was it 92k, 102k? I think you said, Mike. Difficult poll. Yeah, I agree, because we've fallen, but you know what? No. What did I say? 2025. I'm limiting myself. Okay, I'm gonna start a timer. I'm not going to talk about anything. Okay, we'll get onto this. I only have the front page open of DeepSeek just so I can show it as a little intro. This is DeepSeek. If you don't know what that is, and you're someone who doesn't know what DeepSeek is, which has been kind of blowing everything up in the past 24. I actually don't know what the specific. I don't know what the specific hour was of it releasing or whatever. I don't know when exactly, but to the effect of about 24 hours, I think it was. Yeah, I think we are going to come down. I think this is started a chain effect of moving downwards, which is not good. Obviously, my expectation was we were going to move upwards. Obviously, this is different. But anyway, this was just to obviously show you, just have it open. If you don't know what DeepSeek is, it is basically like ChatGPT. If you don't know what, if I were to easily compare it to something, it is basically ChatGPT, but China. It's just China. Okay, China made it. China guy. A guy in China, I was probably saying, not China guy. A guy in China. A team of people. I think it's Scale AI, I think they're called. It's probably down here somewhere. I think they're called Scale AI. They basically have made this. Apparently they said in their past time, which I don't know how. I think they're bragging a bit. They're like, oh yeah, we did this 200 people. We made DeepSeek with 200 people. It was a kind of a past project, whatever. But we'll get into some stuff. They've illegally done it. Okay, they use NVIDIA servers. Illegally imported. I was talking to this about Mike. I was talking about this with Mike, basically, it could be I think we sent stuff to Singapore, and then the whole thing happened. And I think China got it, and now they've basically trained stuff based on things we've given them, and they're trying to brag about it. Whatever. Basically, this is DeepSeek. This is AI. Okay, let's just move on to the first tweet. A little funny joke, because again, it is China. It is a Chinese. Hosted AI system, similar to OpenAI and all those things, is basically a Chinese hosted version of that. But to be fair, there's kind of a love-hate relationship with, or in my personal opinion, with DeepSeek, okay? Because again, it's hosted in China and the website's in China, and we will get on some tweets, especially this one. This one's obviously, as we expect, China. They are going to get every single morsel of information out of you as they possibly can if you do use DeepSeek. I wouldn't recommend using DeepSeek on the gateway they have. So you know how OpenAI has ChatGPT, but you can go and download the models, which is basically how you run the AI. I think that there's a kind of a double-edged sword here, where I think there's definitely big issues if you were to go and use their public-facing kind of portal to the DeepSeek models, and somehow ChatGPT or OpenAI has ChatGPT. This is basically DeepSeek for that. But their models, I think the love-hate relationship for me is, I think if you go and use it, obviously they're going to take all your data. They're going to try and take as much as they can. And there's massive censoring as well. Obviously, America has, or OpenAI has censoring, but obviously DeepSeek's a bit more obvious with it. Because I believe you try and talk about some certain political things, it literally just completely bans you or completely stops you from asking. So, yeah, I mean, to be expected. But I think their models, because again, you can use models. It's not going to give them data if you use their models. So I think it's good. I'm glad they've done this. I don't care how it's happened that they've done it. I'm glad they've done it because it's more optimum for AI in the future. It makes it cheaper. However, again, they're a bit shady. So I thought that I'd post this as the first kind of first introduction to DeepSeek. Yeah, it's not as it seems. To be expected. Again, Trump's always about China, this, that, the other. Again, it's true. You can't deny him. This is a crypto related one. Again, I think this has had a bigger effect than it needed to. Now, I understand with Nvidia. I do understand that going down. I know obviously OpenAI and some of the AI tokens. I get that. I understand that completely. I don't think it should have been that big. Realistically, I don't think it should have affected the entirety of everything. Now, again, negative news in the market, regardless of what it directly affects or not, will affect the market. So I do understand that aspect, but I think this has had a bigger, a larger effect than needed to be, because it's not that realistically that bad. Nvidia, obviously, their big claim to glory is, or of recent anyway, is their AI, and their capability of using their GPUs to specifically use AI. So obviously what DeepSeek does with their models, it makes it a lot more accessible and cheaper to run AI, whether it be locally or on a server, wherever. You can use graphic cards, there's obviously AMD and then there's Nvidia. AMD is not really honed towards AI, or AI kind of solely uses Nvidia, but obviously this new model kind of allows it so you can use cheaper GPUs or use AMD models properly. So I understand why that affects Nvidia, but again, this is too big. This happened too big. So as we can see, if you are selling your Bitcoin because of the DeepSeek news, you have no idea what you own. Exactly. Again, I don't think it directly relates. It doesn't really relate to Bitcoin. It's not like this affects GPU power or anything regardless like that. It doesn't really directly affect Bitcoin. I don't understand why we've had that much of a effect on the crypto market. But again, I can't stop it. It is what it is. It has happened. But anyway, so this is the kind of big one as well, as we were to be expected. This is official from them. FYI, DeepSeek AI collects your IP, keystroke patterns, device info, etc., and stores it in China, where all the data is vulnerable to arbitrary requisitions from the Chinese state. As we know. So this is some stuff they tell you themselves. I believe they tell you themselves that they are currently accessing. And again, it's not point fingers and judge, because OpenAI does as well. They do take, whether it be keystrokes or IPs, whatever it takes. I know it does currently, and they explicitly tell you this, it does use the prompts you give the AI. It does use your prompts to train the models better. It takes what you say and it stores it, so whatever. So obviously it talks about IP addresses, unique device identifiers. So this is a little bit like obviously IP addresses, unique device identifiers. So whether that be Mac physical addresses or device OS systems, whatever. Cookies. That's interesting, because obviously if you can access cookies, it depends what gets stored. That's really not a good thing. Obviously, if we kind of skim down a bit, I think it was down here. Yeah. Device model, operating system, keystroke patterns or rhythms. So when it kind of talks about keystroke patterns, there's no use in reading the way you type. It's more so of, okay, if you can read your keystroke patterns, it's reading keystrokes basically. But again, it depends if that's on the app or off the app. If it is kind of like an invasive thing, I don't think it is, but again, still, it's not a good thing. All this sort of stuff. This is fine though. Yeah, so this is again, this isn't that bad. User IDs, that's not that bad. If we move on though, and then this is obviously the bad part, which is it will be stored. Obviously, this is relating to people outside of China. Obviously, if they're storing your data outside your country, but ASK is saying we're storing the data in servers in China, and obviously they're China with their laws. they can just go get this data whenever they want. So yeah, it's a bit invasive to everybody outside of China. So that's obviously a very bad thing, not very good. But to be fair, I believe they have had a cutoff for DeepSeek. I think they've literally just gone, okay, we are not going to allow anyone who doesn't have a Chinese phone number to use this app. I believe I've seen screenshots of that. I think they've made a system where, like, if you don't have a Chinese mobile number, mainland China phone number, you can't use it. So I think they have kind of taken it off from external parties. But yeah, it's it's not a good thing. And obviously this is kind of a result. I just want to show us the last thing before we do move on to the charts. This has kind of hurt everything, and it hurts. But again, I don't think this shouldn't have made this big of a difference. I really don't. Personally, tell me otherwise, fine. I don't think this should have made this much of a difference. Maybe with Apple, because I know they have. I think Meta would have had a hit. Microsoft, I suppose, have got like Copilot and stuff. Some I think the applications or products which kind of directly are involved with AI, I completely understand why they will be affected. I completely understand that. And obviously NVIDIA and some tech and majority of tech stocks within that, I completely understand that. But again, when it comes to certain other places, like where else? Let's have a little look. What are some areas like oil and gas? Like there's some places up here. Gold. I mean, we don't see the percentages, to be fair. It's like some of these I don't think should have like mattered, especially entertainment as well. Railroads, who cares? Why? What? Airport, airplanes, why is that being affected? It doesn't matter. Beverages, Bud Light, Budweiser, why the hell's Budweiser getting? Why is Nike losing money? It's one of those things where the whole market is just losing because certain people are losing. They shouldn't be losing. It makes no sense. But it's one of those things where it's so external from some of these assets where they're just going to go right back to where they were. So I've yapped for 10 minutes. So bringing what we've just said, especially the last part, into the charts, let's now finally move on to the main aspects, which is obviously the charts. Obviously looking at CoinMarketCap first, seeing what percentages we've got, and then we can actually go ahead and move on to obviously the Bitcoin chart, Solana chart. I'll try to look at Ethereum as well, even though my Ethereum chart might not be formatted correctly because I've changed the colors, so we might have a bit of an issue there. We will obviously fix that. But anyways, whatever. So Bitcoin 99,820. So obviously further down. The main issue with where we are right now is we've fallen below that green area. Okay, because the aspect for me was, okay, well, we could, if we can hold this green area, because what I said last stream was, if we can hold the green area, which is the breakup block, if we can hold this as support, then I have more confidence to say we are going to eventually flip up and surpass the equilibrium and come up towards 116k, whatever I said. But unfortunately, like I obviously mentioned on the stream, if we don't hold it, we're not going to do that. Which obviously we didn't hold it, and we're now not doing that. So that's why obviously the stop loss was below the green area. So again, we didn't hold the green area because again everything's gone down. We didn't hold support, which has then caused us to kind of invalidate that, not just coming up to equilibrium, but also the entire movement as a whole, which is obviously unfortunate. Same will go for Solana as well, and wherever else I would have said the same thing. So again, Solana, we're at 228, 243 was the orange line limit thing, or limit area. So I know we're going to have fallen below that area. I can even guess. You can see the red area. You see how there's a imaginary line here. There's a bounce here, and there's another bounce here, and there's some bounces in this area. And you can see we flip it, and then we bounce off here. I can almost guarantee this imaginary line in between these bounces is going to be the yellow area. So we've fallen below. That's probably going to be about 243. So as you see, I reckon that moving upwards was about 243. I don't know where our dump was to completely, but obviously we are now at 228. So yeah, if we fall below 243, especially the purple line, I think we've probably fallen below the purple line. There's a tweet there. I should copy. Is this something for me to look at? That is not what I wanted to do. But I guess it's good enough. Here it is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so DeepSeek lied about how many GPUs they are using. Okay, right. When was this released? 5:04 p.m. Which is this America time? Is this our time? Is this localized? I think. Okay, well, a couple hours ago, let's just say it's a couple hours ago, 4 hours ago, whatever. DeepSeek lied about how many GPUs they're using, right? Okay, and now restricted access to only in China. Yeah, right. Like I said, the Chinese phone numbers. So the massive stock market and crypto sell-off was due to us believing the CCP built an AI model 1% weaker than ChatGPT for 95% cheaper. We're not learning the lessons from the virus. Yeah, so only registration with a mainland China mobile phone number is supported. Yeah. So they've now limited. They've only now limited the users to mainland China, like I mentioned. I don't care about this stuff. Yeah, so it's talking about the idea because they can't apparently explicitly talk about those chips because it's illegal, which obviously, like I talked about with America exporting or US exporting the chips, which I obviously mentioned, which obviously they can't, they can't talk about because it's illegal. I just want to see any more. I just want to see if there's any more things. Yeah, so again, it's a big old fear thing, which again, like I said, regardless of even if it was fear or not, I still don't think it should have had the effect it did. I really don't. I think because I think I said on Telegram as well. This was before this happened. They've been out a week. I think they've already been. I think January the 20th they released. I don't know when the big stuff got released. I don't know if it was within 24 hours, 48 hours ish. I don't know when it was exactly. I was like, okay, give them a week, and America's going to have banned it because it's a Chinese. It's just Chinese product. Full stop, really. Which you can never really trust. And it wasn't even a week. It literally wasn't even a day, or maybe a day and a bit, whatever it was. Already been banned. So good news, I suppose. Good news. So yeah, it's one of those things where the market has responded so poorly to it, where this could have barreled us into a downtrend. But again, we're going to get into it. Okay, we're going to get into it because it's hard to say. Like obviously KB, you are obviously aware as well. The poll was a tricky one. Either we're going to recover to basically resistance or come down to a support area, which I will show. Anyway, what am I yapping? Bitcoin, obviously 99698. So about 5% down 24 hour. So yeah, you can see the main downwards movement has been on the 24 hours. So it was roughly within 24 hours. This whole thing got announced and has now been reverted because of America. So they're 10%, obviously 7.49 for the 7-day. But again, that's recovering how much we went up and how much we've now gone down. So you can't really count that. But obviously, we're nearing towards 1% on Solana. We're hovering a bit. We've we've gone down. Obviously, I think for Bitcoin as well. We're finding support areas. I know we're starting to try and come up a bit, but again, we'll get into it. There's another tweet from Mike. Let's have a quick look at this before we actually fully move on. This better be a good tweet, otherwise I'll waste my time. Right, brilliant. Okay, yeah. So you can put this on your stream. Okay, you can put this on your stream. But it's true though. No, it's true. Completely true. So whatever. So Solana 227 again. That's going to be below 243, which is unfortunate. We will look into it. Ethereum at 3,000. I haven't looked at Ethereum in a while. I really have not looked at Ethereum in a while in terms of my latest charts. So we will have a look. We'll have a look at that to see. I think if we look at the losers though, it's going to be AI coins. Well, fart coin. Obviously, it's fart coin. It sucks. I do not know Onyx coin. Actually, I do not know. Does it give rundowns? Yes, if it did. Let's go to the website. I don't know what they are. I just want to see if it's AI. I imagine. Okay, this is not important to us. I'd imagine AI. I think this is one of the render as well. Also the GPU based stuff, like render, for example. But again, it's quite far fetched. It's quite far fetched in terms of them being related to DeepSeek. It's like DeepSeek's AI. These guys are multi GPU mesh network related rendering systems. These aren't related to AI really. I mean, you can probably use them. Again, whatever. But yeah, no surprise there. Anyone up? Yeah, it's a bad day. It's a bad day. USDC, Tether, stablecoin, going down. Probably more stablecoins down here somewhere. Or probably not down here, but here anyway. Stablecoins, not a good thing. Very bad. Anyway, yapping. Move on. Bitcoin. Not going to spend obviously as much time as I did last time because again I had a lot to cover. So these were our targets. Okay, our targets. So we were here. We were holding this green area. My criteria was hold green area. support, good thing, equilibrium, higher highs into equilibrium, break equilibrium, follow on with this, because this is a theoretical model for these ranges, which is you go to the breaker block, you go back down to the fair value gap, and then you come up to these areas: order block, mitigation block, liquidity void. That is the theory. Okay, you don't have to know it, but that's the theory. Okay, I was just displaying the theory of this system. Okay, but obviously then, you know, we can see, you know, if we were to look at the lows of this movement, obviously this was our low, our previous higher low. Obviously we have now surpassed that. Okay, so now we have actually shifted. We have now done a lower low. So again, if we start to produce higher lower highs, obviously if we zoom in on a different time frame, you'll probably start to see, especially if it was cooling off anyway. We were trying to hold this this area, especially this blue line, but again, you know, massive dump broke us down below this, which just sucks. But again, good support at the yellow area. So not all is lost, in my opinion. Okay, not all is lost. We haven't surpassed the 96k line going down. Now, if we are now shifting into a downtrend, and we do eventually surpass this, because again, it'll be one more high before we see us go past 98.6. So at that rate, it would then be us kind of, you know, coming down, lower low, you know, lower high, coming down again, purple line, maybe bounce off there, bounce off the yellow line probably, and then once we have this bounce, we're now in this range, which will then lead us towards this area at 92k. So I think we've got this big old breaker block back here. I'm not going to zoom into it, I can't bother, but back there is a important breaker block. Now, if you remember what breaker blocks are, they are failed order blocks. This is a negative order block, which is then therefore going to be a positive or a point of support basically for us. So this is going to be a point of support at about 92.5 ish. So that is probably going to be where support is going to be. Now, this is the thing though, we haven't confirmed below 96.35 whatever. So in my eyes, we are still in this range. We are just on the severe bottom of it. But again, if we have printed this low, you know, because again, you can look at these lows here. We have multiple lows in this area, and now we've come down, and now we're starting to come up again. So the other scenario is this: we have now swept multiple lows, and we are going to hopefully come back upwards. But again, the issue then is we have this resistance. Actually, let me figure it out. Where was this resistance at? Oh no, did I just shimmy it back? Was it on the 1 hour? Where did I draw this? It's because it's not this one. This one's too small. I thought it was a longer term thing. Was it a weekly? Huh. Try to find out where did I draw this? I thought I drew it and then I shimmied it backwards a bit. Must be this one then, isn't it? But again, I mean, it is a negative, actually, to be fair. It is negative. So, is this bigger? There we go. I'm just trying to draw this properly. So it is a negative. So we have found resistance at it, you know, or we've fallen below support. So it's not held properly. So, again, that has shifted us all the way down to our support area. We didn't really have, in this yellow area, yeah, okay, cool. We did have support here. AKA, we're pretty much bouncing off the bottom of it. I believe it was it's actually an order block, to be fair. Oh, actually, this is not colored properly at all, is it? This is within, actually no, this is an order block, to be fair, isn't it? Yeah, no, this is, yeah, that's stupid. I thought that was a different range. But I suppose I should probably go these ranges, see if what we've got. Well, it is in breaker block area, so this is technically a breaker block. So that technically means it's a positive breaker block. So this is, yeah, so you can see mitigation blocks, breaker blocks. So this area is breaker blocks, and you can see this is within the area. So this is a negative order block, which we've now surpassed, and we are now currently bouncing off. We have multiple lines here on the daily. We are now currently there at about 100 grand. So we could potentially have about 100,289. We could have support here. So if we do hold this, that therefore is our bounce. And if we look on the daily with the higher range, we don't have anything of difficulty there. up until obviously 116. But again, we do have to pay attention to the smaller ranges because, you know, on this grander scheme of things, we are above equilibrium, which is a good thing, obviously. If we were to look here, though, it's still not in that area. But again, the daily, you have to look on the larger ranges. Let me quickly look at this range there. Yeah, so this range is, because again, these ranges cascade. Okay, so looking at different ranges gives us, you know, confident, whether it be confidence or you know, kind of the idea of it being on a grander scheme of things, it's not really mattering that much. Realistically, we're only stuck below 104k. You know, obviously we've tried to get above, you know, twice. You know, we've tried to exceed it, but we haven't managed to do that. Obviously, you can see this kind of thing here. This tried to get about above. Obviously, this wasn't near it at all, to be fair. But we are staying pretty much exactly above. So we've seen this before on smaller time frames, especially with Bitcoin and on Solana and pretty much everything. Actually, there have been so many times where we've come up into equilibrium, either found difficulty in the red area or surpassed the red area, had difficulty in this kind of phase, and then succeeded and surpassed the blue line. Because remember, the equilibrium isn't just the red area; it's the whole thing. The whole thing is the difficulty. You know, because look, I mean, this is it. This is it right here, actually. This is it. This is what I'm talking about in terms of finding difficulty below equilibrium, coming into it, finding support here, and then coming outwards, and then doing our thing. Look, the whole period of us at 69, 60, whatever, bang, resistance, bang, surpass, difficulty here, it's going to be us doing that. So again, this is on the daily. This is a larger range. Okay, this is a long-term thing. So it could be a scenario where we've just bounced off of these two lines and we're coming down again. Okay, so that then therefore could be about 94k, you know, 94k-ish support. But again, remember, we're on the daily. We're a bit more involved. It's not like we're on the weekly, because on the weekly, look, weekly looks even better. You know, it's like we've bounced off of this line, because again, we're on the 177. This is basically a larger range. Okay, so on the grand scheme of things, you can see we've come up into it. We've bounced perfectly off of equilibrium. We've bounced perfectly off of equilibrium again. Obviously now doing a lower high. Oh, in terms of the print, again, we have done a higher high actually. To be fair, obviously our low was down here area, so this is definitely a higher low. So, you know, again, comparatively, on the longer term, you know, grand scheme of things, this is our low down here. This is our new low. You know, our highs were down here. This is our high. We've now done a higher high here. So we're still not in a bad scenario when you compare it on the weekly. Okay, so on the grand scheme of things, and again, this is, you know, if you're trading somewhere on the 4 hour, it's not really gonna have that much of an effect. Okay, the weekly doesn't make all your problems better. You know, it's still gonna be negative. We are still gonna come down, but you know, realistically, it could just be, okay, well, we're just doing what we're doing already, where we could have another bounce off of this area, coming back down towards 93.8. Okay, so again, the weekly, the print is at about 94k, basically. Going on a daily, though, the wicks are going to be down towards 92k, like I said, 92-ish k, and the prints are going to be about there as well. But on the grand scheme, on the weekly, so obviously on the close, is going to be about 94k, I reckon. We're going to wick probably towards 92k and onwards, maybe towards 91.5. And again, this is if we develop below where we are now. Because again, remember, on the daily, what do we have? Actually, wait. Which range was it? This range? It was this range, wasn't it? Here it is. Yeah, this is. I was looking at the wrong place. This is it. So remembering what we have on this range as well, with this equilibrium on the daily, because again, this range we have is relative on the daily. Okay, because the daily respects it, you know, better. Because if we look at this range, for example, on the daily, it's a bit too much. You can see there's relative respect of the lines, but when you start to see the candles print, you know, a bit fuzzy in comparison to the lines, then you have to move up. But you know, relative to this range here, we can see the daily is very nicely using these lines, so we can tell this time frame is respecting this range. So then obviously, therefore, we can see we have this positive breaker block. So relative to this range, if we print on the daily above 100,000, 300-ish kind of area, I would then expect to see a bit of a bounce. If we start to see this and bounce back upwards, then, you know, from the daily point of view anyway, this could be our, you know, our higher low back upwards towards, you know, trying to get above equilibrium. So it's one of those things. It's complicated. You know, it's like, oh, 102k or 92k. Well, there's validity in both. It just depends on what direction we're going. And to be fair, on the 4 hour, if we start to do another lower high, then we're technically going to be in a downtrend. But you know, that has to from the 4 hour has to cascade up to the daily, which then has to go to the weekly. So it's one of those things where, yeah, on the 4 hour, it's looking, you know, okay, this is really bad. But realistically, on the daily, you know, here it's like, okay, this high, this low, this high, this low. And then we did a higher high here. And then we did, okay, well, this is actually, you know, this wasn't good, to be fair. This was actually technically a lower low. But then we did a higher low. So it was one of those things where it's like that, which is not good. So technically, I can't really talk. I was going to mention the fact that, you know, we flipped this here and then did a higher low, and then we went up and did a higher high, and now we're doing a higher low. Now we're going to do a higher high towards 116k. But technically, that is not really true with this wick here. But it would have been a good argument, though, wouldn't it? It would have been a great argument, because then I would have said, okay, cool. When technically on the daily, this is our uptrend, this is our lower, this is our higher low, and then we're going to come up above this area to then do our higher high. You know, 112, 116k area. Obviously, to apply that to the lower range, though, would be this unfortunate equilibrium area, which we're having major difficulty at. So yeah, on the 4 hour, it's looking pretty negative. I keep on beating around the bush with Bitcoin. It's hard to say. It is hard to say, because on one hand you do have this kind of surpass. Also on the daily, it's not looking very good. But you know, on the 1 hour, we have these, you know, these higher lows consistently, really consistent higher lows, which have now broken out of. You know, we've broken out this low, we've come below it, and now we're seeing difficulty at it. We've done a lower low. So in theory, on the 4 hour, we should continue to see negative movement. But you know, I would rather wait to see what the daily does. I'd rather wait to see if on the daily, do we print below towards 99k? Could it potentially happen? We need a break of 104.5k to confirm a change in flow. Let me bring my different range up. Yeah, this range, I get what you mean. But that's the thing on the especially on the 4 hour, is it's negative. You know, we've had our lower low. We are having difficulty below it, and we're not printing above the support. So relative on the 4 hour anyway, we've broken below where I thought support would have been to continue onwards, and now the next range below, which is technically support on the daily anyway, which we have to print at above if we were able to do that. But yeah, if we're able to get above, so what would you say again? Would need a break of 104.5 to confirm change in flow. So 104.5k, which is about here-ish. Yeah, I get this top here. So about this top here. Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. So like in terms of on this range only, yeah, like this high, this low, this high, this low, this, and then obviously this is the change here. So I get what you mean that this range here is the change. So I think the opportunity to do that would be if we were to bounce off of 100k, basically. That would be the only potential, or the only range I would see, or the only scenario if we were to do it. The only scenario I see us, you know, being in, to then therefore lead into a scenario where we would get above 104k. But as I see it right now, you know, like you said, we aren't in a good scenario. We really just aren't in a good scenario right now. You know, we are below our low, significantly below our low, and having difficulty getting back above. So on the 4 hour, it's not looking like we're holding this 100k line, which then therefore, you know, we don't have anything really below us up until 92k. So like I compared with, I think weekly wise, so like, you know, again, it's Monday today, so we're way off of that. So, you know, going back to that daily point, it would be it was between 94k and 92k. So I think we're gonna have wicks towards 92k, prints probably on the 4 hour towards 92k, and then maybe move upwards. So yeah, it's not. I think we have this retracement. So yeah, I don't think the scenario, because again, even if we do hold this 100k and then try and get back above towards 105k, we still have resistance here at 104.9, you know, 104k. We still have resistance there. So the likelihood is we're probably going to see our retracement downwards. But again, to get rid of the noise, we go to the weekly, and we can see this is a normal. This seems to be normal action anyway. You know, we're just kind of doing our thing here until we break out. You know, until we break out. So if we haven't been able to break out, which we haven't, you can see this massive retracement on this the 20th of January this week, or basically last week. We weren't able to print above. And break the equilibrium. So therefore means we probably should see that retracement downwards, which would then lead us to see 94k to 92.5k. So that's going to be my rough range down here. Considering we didn't hold support, we didn't break above here at any point. Because remember, us breaking above, because comparatively, like we said with the other one, it kind of coincides with each other. Because like I said, my main point on Friday was, if we can hold this support up here, then I would see us continue on to 116, which completely coincides with equilibrium. Because look, equilibrium's at 104.5. This support's at 104, basically 105k. So they kind of equate to each other. Being if we were able to hold support there until the week closes, then if we were to bounce off of the 104.5k and then go upwards, that would allow for the weekly to close above equilibrium, which would then allow for us to be in this range up here, so on and so forth. Obviously, it's the weekly. This will take a long period of time. But relative to the weekly, the candle could then do that, which would then allow us to go towards 116k. But again, we didn't. So the then expected movement, based on what we see on the weekly, should be our retracement back down towards maybe 93k. Maybe by the end of this week, towards here, as we slowly go down, we'll probably see a lot of, bouncing up and downwards. But relative to how we see this movement on the weekly, we could see, if we weren't able to break up, we're going to come back down again. So yeah, I agree. We weren't able to do what I said we hopefully were able to do on Friday, and obviously we have now gotten out of that trade, or obviously gotten out of that scenario, that potential scenario, and are now coming down towards 94k. So yeah, it's not looking to. The cards are not in the favor for going upwards. It's looking like it's going to go downwards. And like I said, when we were looking at the articles, I think this has been enough to lead us into a scenario where we're now going downwards. So yeah, I want a quick look at Solana. And obviously, I'm basically getting up saying the same thing as what we already said with Bitcoin, but for Solana. I don't know what range you're on. I don't know. I should probably do daily. So what will I looking at? So again, same scenario here. Pretty much the exact same scenario. We had our highs, or our lows, sorry. Actually, when did I draw this? Did I draw this during yesterday? I think I did. But again, same retracement scenario. Which again, we haven't broken below the purple line. Very similar to Bitcoin. But again, relative to the higher time frame. Actually, I don't know relative to the higher time frame. Well, we are on the 243. I should probably draw the next range upwards, which I believe is a 729. So I should probably draw that. So I'm probably going to end up doing that. Okay, let's do that quickly. So I think the next one's the 729, which is basically just going to be $0 and $729. I think I should do it like this. And then that's about it, really. And there we go. Yeah, so this is the wider range. So this is we look on the weekly. And look at that. Look at that wick, the wick especially. So equilibrium for this higher range. Again, this is a really big range. So this is going to be, the weekly range as we had with Bitcoin. Again, not looking like it's lining up too well in comparison to Bitcoin, where we're already in the equilibrium, finding difficulty in the equilibrium. Solana isn't looking the same. So relative, because remember I've been saying for a while now, Solana's doing its thing. It's not relative to Bitcoin as of late. Well, it kind of makes sense because based on our weekly range, which you can see is roughly the 729, you can see the responses off of these lines on the 729 are really, really accurate. Especially these bounces here, nearing these bounces, especially some of these bounces down here. These bounces, roughly some of these bounces, it's looking pretty relative to the 729. So we can clearly delineate that this is the 729, that the weekly is on the 729 range. So basing that then, we are not in the equilibrium. So in comparison to Bitcoin on its weekly range, relative equal range, which is in the equilibrium. We're not in that for Solana. So that allows us to move up and down a bit faster and a bit more, aggressive. So what do we see? Okay, what do we see currently? Based on the 729 weekly, what sort of TA can we start to draw? Well, we could probably draw breaker blocks. Okay, so this is a positive breaker block, which we haven't held on to. So if obviously we were to go onto the daily, you can see for a period of time we were holding onto it really nicely. But again, this negativity has then forced us down. Very similar to Bitcoin, because remember what we had for Bitcoin? We had that green range at about 104.5K, which was going to be positive, which is now, obviously we've now broken below it. So the resultant from this dump we've had, or not dump, just retracement, whatever you want to say, has then led us to come below these support ranges, which will then kind of leave us in the air. Okay, because it's like having support down here and support up here. Well, now that we've broken below this one, this is our support. So, we either quickly go back above this one, or we come down to the next point of support, like a ladder. Okay, so same with this. Look, very nice support. Relative, very nice support here. This bounce, bounce again. Good support. On the whole, very good support, which obviously proves that this is a relatively good breaker block. So what that means for us is it doesn't necessarily mean we can't use it as resistance because it's a positive breaker block. It just means it's going to be used as support. So it doesn't necessarily mean we can't do a bounce, but normally, because we've seen it before, and Solana's even done this on like the 4-hour, if I can remember correctly, I think down during this period of time when I was doing TA down here, we saw scenarios where we had a breaker block which was used in the order blocks manner, because at the end of the day it's just a point of interest, but it is a point of interest with a weighting to it. It's like, okay, it's more weighted to be towards a support point. However, it doesn't mean we can't use it as resistance. So same thing here, just to compare it. It doesn't necessarily mean we can't use this area of resistance. So it doesn't necessarily mean we can't come back up into it, come towards 245, 243 even. Because remember, what is the 243 at? Why is the 243 important? This is why the 243 is important. It is the obviously, if we were up here, it was the low. Okay, this is the support point. And again, comparatively with that breaker block, very, very close to support. Again here, bounce, breaker block. It's like breaker block and support at the same time. It's like boom, support at the bottom of the breaker block, boom, support here at the 243, boom, breaker block support here, multiple time support within this range. But again, not only have we fallen below the 243, we've fallen below this breaker block. So again, similar with Bitcoin, we haven't quite fallen below 216 and printed below it and then used it as resistance. We haven't fully shifted our gears into being, to putting us into a scenario where we are then below 243, using it as a high point and then coming all the way down towards, X, Y, Z. We haven't done that yet. Obviously not saying we can't do that. So I do want to go back on the weekly though before I move on back to the lower time frames to see what we're doing. So I do want to see if there's anything interesting. So we had this weekly, on the 243 anyway, we had this weekly rejection block, which obviously can be used as support resistance, which obviously coincides with the midpoint being the purple line, which is quite interesting. But again, it isn't really too crazy. And rejection blocks, realistically, they're not like order blocks, or they're not like crazy support points. They can be used as resistance 1 or 2 times, but it's nothing important. I'm going to hide this, actually. I'm going to do... I'm just going to like name it like that, but I do want to hide it. I can't really bother having it on screen. It's a bit messy. We also want to go back to the 729 quickly as well. I do want to have a little look back at what we're doing. So we're basically, obviously not quite exactly, but a couple dollars, maybe $2 off, bouncing off equilibrium. So a big range here, $2 bounce off of that. So what do we have though? We have very consistent higher lows, obviously higher highs. So based on the weekly, similar with Bitcoin, to kind of denoise it, we haven't got, we're not shifting trends. So technically on the weekly anyway, we have, actually, I don't know what this is on the daily. I'm going to delete it though. If it's really important, I'll redraw it. So, really good bounces here, really good normal movement. So we've had our higher lows, we've got our higher highs. So this is looking like normal trend, especially on the weekly. Similar with Bitcoin, the bounce off of the top of the equilibrium is very normal looking on the weekly. Again, looking on the 4-hour or looking at this at the other, it looks pretty dramatic. Okay, we're falling off this range. Why have we bounced off 298 for no reason? Well, normally, if you're looking on a lower range, like, okay, why have we done this? the higher ranges can answer for you, which in this case we can do because we can see we are in a nice uptrend for Solana on the weekly, and we can see that we've had our low, we've had our high off of the equilibrium, and now we're retracing back down. So in theory, what that should mean for us, if we follow this trend line and do another higher low, we should then see us retrace towards about potentially $190, $200 ish, maybe $200 ish. So obviously, now that we keep that in mind, if we maybe even make a little price note, similar with Bitcoin, how I think it can go towards 92.5, 94k. I think Solana's version of that would be about $195, $200. So if we just draw that there, 194, 194 and a half ish, and then we compare that on the lower time frames, just to see if we have any confluence with that range or any reason for that to exist. Is there anything relation? Well, there's multiple highs over here, which it has consistency at. Let me go on the 81 because the 81 might have a bit more kind of confluence with it. Well, this is breaker block area in this range here. So there's probably going to be some sort of support point. So maybe down here, I mean, not really though. This is quite big. This is going to be negative though. It's also too big. We should probably go to the 4 hour. That probably makes more sense. So let's shimmy back over here and have a little look if we've got any order blocks in this range, which we can actually use. Resistance again here. Not looking like anything on over there. Let's go a bit more close. Bit what the word is, closer to where we are basically. Until we can see something. Not particularly on the 194. So it might be actually, well, we haven't looked here yet, to be fair. We've got a big thing here, I suppose, which we kind of have held, and it is support. So it's resistance, but we'll draw it anyway. We'll just see. Does this range towards 194? Not particularly. I'm not seeing much there. We could potentially have there, which we have. Oops, I didn't delete that. Do we have something here? Potentially. What do we see? Well, we form it. We use support, bounce, support, rough support, not particularly on the trend line, yes, but not particularly support there. Obviously, then we fell below, found support again that came upwards. So it seems like maybe at 191 we have a bit of support there. So relatively close to where we had this trend line, about 193. Actually, well, to be fair, on the trend line it does go a bit higher. Well, actually, if we compare on the 4 hour, it reaches the equilibrium. So it maybe not necessarily is the breaker block, more so than it is hitting into this equilibrium here on the 81, on the 4 hour anyway. So we have this equilibrium at 195, which kind of coincides with this line. Because if we kind of trajectory where we are now, this goes into Wednesday, which wouldn't be that crazy to say for that. Even if we go towards next week, which would be the weekly close for that week candle, it's still within equilibrium. This entire thing is still within equilibrium. So even if we hover a bit, bounce up, maybe bounce down again, this is still equilibrium down here. So it looks like our retracement for the weekly could coincide with us coming into an equilibrium about there, about that line on the 81. So to me, it looks like it is just another day in the office on the weekly, and we are going to be continuing to come back downwards towards 195. So I reckon 195 could be a good low for Solana, similar to how we have 92-ish K. Because again, with on the lower time frames, on the lower ranges, the 92k is equilibrium for Bitcoin. So similar to how we have with Solana, where 194, 195 is equilibrium, we also have that for Bitcoin. So it does kind of coincide roughly. But again, from what it looks like to me, is we've had our higher high. We're now coming down again. It looks like we'll have a bounce of this trend line, which looks to be about 195 towards, $200-ish, wherever it was exactly for the equilibrium. Yeah, this is actually quite a really nice order block over here. But obviously, it's not really... I can draw it though. It looks really nice. It's nice. I don't think it's relative to any why can't I change the color? I'm stupid, that's why. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I just want to draw it quickly. It looked pretty nice. Anyway, I don't want to keep that on the screen. So yeah, for Solana, I reckon $195. I think we're coming down. It's unfortunate. because when I looked on the chart on Friday, it was kind of a scenario where we were really high, but we were above things which were good. And in a perfect scenario where we didn't have what has happened happen, we would then be able to stay above and actually hopefully come upwards. But again, we haven't held our positions at support on either side of things for Solana or with Bitcoin. So what I want to do, I want to look at Ethereum. Now, again, this is going to be a venture for both of us, or all of us. I should probably not say both of us. It does maybe feel a bit more personal if I say both of us. It feels like I'm talking to you directly. But we are in a group technically together. So what I would rather say is, what I want to do as a collective is I do want to go to Ethereum. Now, the issue with Ethereum, as you may notice, all my lines are black because I haven't actually shifted because I know I had white for the longest time, and not everyone, but I liked it. But I do understand that it was hard to see. It was really, really hard to see. I don't know if I can I don't know if that's going to do what I want it's going to do. I think trendline, maybe I can do this. That's not bad. I suppose I can do trendline. So let's just do this. I didn't know what I haven't changed. Okay, so I haven't changed. If I change this one, yeah. If I change this one, okay, cool. Let's just do from here. Let's just change all these grays to white quickly. There we go. We've got a lot of lines. God, do you have a lot of lines? Can I change? I can change the line. That's not what I want to change though. Like this, I want it to be white. Well, I don't have that many rectangles to be fair. I mean, I've got some down here, and then the line needs to be white. But realistically, I don't have a lot of areas. I've got this big one. I suppose I can change. You know what? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Actually, we've got this black one I haven't seen yet. I just want to try and change as much as I can to make sure we can actually see it relative to what we have. We're also on the weekly, which doesn't help with what we have. And also, I need to change my ranges to be a bit closer with, what we have over here. There we go. And then I think that's pretty good. I might need to do this one as well. Okay, we can't see down there. Actually, I kind of want to do a bigger range because if we go on the weekly or even the daily, actually, to be fair, we're pretty high. There was a short petition somewhere. I don't know where the hell that is. All the way up there for some reason. I do want to do a bigger range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it. I'm going to do a really big one, like spanning this whole thing. I just want to see what it would do. So what I'm going to do is I don't have my calculator, which makes things a lot easier. I'm just going to get a new browser tab and I'm going to do the math to get the latest number. So it'd be like, so it'll probably be the 6561. I don't like how it shifts it like that. Okay, so this is like the biggest one. So this is roughly a weekly one. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. These rectangles are awful though. Do not like it. Actually, yeah, I'll span this back a bit further actually. There we go. So we can see this whole thing. There we go. So we can see weekly for Ethereum. That's good. I do want to keep that. So it looks like we're actually in an equilibrium now. Which actually this line I've drawn actually, this line which I haven't actually looked at yet. This line's actually pretty exact on the equilibrium, which is quite nice. I don't know why. I must have drawn that from a different range or something. But it looks like our recent actions have been relatively stuck, similar to how we have with Bitcoin on the weekly. Obviously, is where we've obviously had difficulty. Well, in this case anyway, difficulty down here, and then us coming into equilibrium and then finding difficulty basically within equilibrium. Obviously, trying to break out and not being able to do that. So, in theory, support would be in between about 3,084. Obviously 2,677 is pretty low, but relatively close to support being at about 3,080, which is nearly where we are now actually. But I do want to get the other range, because there's a different price, which is the 2817. I want to do quickly. I'll do some quick Ethereum TA, and then we'll probably go like 5 minutes over, and then I'll finish that up. It's quite range for now. I want to group it. Wait, which number do I use? 2817, right? Just get that number quickly. I can't bother to do my head. So it's 2817. Okay, there we go. Now we've got the new range. Okay, so similar to how we had with the other one, it seems like we were kind of staying in between, stuck at this equilibrium, here, good bounce off equilibrium. Obviously support basically being at the orange line. Obviously we came below purple line and then obviously found some support down here. We're kind of on the weekly though. I kind of want to come down a bit. You can see we had difficulty at this purple line. Obviously we had massive support over here. Obviously found resistance at the yellow line, pretty below resistance at the resistance area. Obviously we now flipped it. Purple line being, I've moved it now, but purple line being this line here. So you can see obviously came up printed above it. Obviously support off it now as well. So we are we are in this range of 2818 as well. But the main spiel, as you can kind of see, spanning the whole thing here, is that this is a good support area. This is a very good support area multiple times. Obviously we saw on the weekly as well. So looking like on the daily, we haven't been in a particularly good scenario for Ethereum anyway, but again, still not a good scenario, regardless. Coming downwards now. So actually, let's see where we are. So this is actually, let me get rid of this. That's not kind of distracting me. I don't know how to get rid of it without it being annoying. There we go. So yeah, this yellow line, here we go. So you can see bounce off here. So good line, good support. The 2817. Good line. Obviously coming down now towards there. I'm trying to look so this isn't any particular range. I'm trying to see if there's any order blocks or anything which I can recognize in a particular range. And we're in equilibrium, so there's nothing there particularly. This is breaker blocks. This is breaker blocks up here. So any order blocks we find up here are going to be breaker blocks. Have we found anything on the 4 hour? We've got a range here in particular for some reason, so I want to find out why. I've just drawn this, I suppose. I don't know, I have some magical reason I've drawn this range for some particular reason. I thought maybe I had a bit of fun and I just draw this range for no reason. What have I drawn this range for? Okay, whatever. I've drawn this range. Apparently is resistance. Whatever. Maybe I just drew it because it looked like resistance. So nothing I can find there. But the spiel seems to be we are in difficulty area right now for 3085 coming down. Now I don't think we're gonna just hold 3805. But again, actually no. Let me change that. I do, because look, it's not like we've been in a Bitcoin scenario or a Solana scenario where we have seen good movements upwards across the board. Since like here, let's say 16th of December, down, coming down. If we just look at how we've been moving, we can see that this is our low at this purple line, which I think was a previous fair value gap, which I now should probably delete because it's not. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this is a fair value gap. Purple, I've kind of have my own mental color coding, and purple's normally fair value gap. I just draw things. I'm deleting it. I don't care. If it's really important, I'll redraw it. That's kind of my idea I've got going on here. Okay, let's go back to the daily. Yeah, so going back to what I was talking about, I'll delete this line as well. Stupid line. These lines are fine, I guess, and these are okay, I guess. Yeah, so actually, it seems like a consistent, a sweep, and then obviously again. But again, it just looks like we're heading towards this low at about 2,900. So where could we see our next low be at for Ethereum? Well, I think next course of action, if we compare the difference between these two, 6%, another 6% would be this breaker block down here, which is also nearing the 2817. Obviously, if we bring that range back upwards again for the 2817s, I think it's going to end up being about 2817 towards 273 down here. I think we could probably continue this a bit more. But again, to take that with a pinch of salt and compare where we are on this range, we are in the equilibrium. I'm gonna delete these lines. These lines are annoying as well because these are all just the equilibrium. Because I've only just drawn these lines now, and they seem to be equilibrium. And this red, am I like some savant which has just found these out for no reason? Those are some old lines which I've had for ages now. But again, like I did with Bitcoin, I'm gonna look on the weekly. We are in this area now. Again, we've actually done relatively equal high, but technically it's higher. It's pretty equal though, to be fair, isn't it? We were in a good scenario until we had this dump. We were in a good scenario, but obviously a good scenario to be in is coming from this dump. Again, similar with Bitcoin, where we have our lows, then we had our high. It looks like we're coming down, and then we obviously, if we continue, what we have. If we consider this a new position, well, actually it is, because if we consider this be our high, this our low, surpass this high, this is our new trend, which then therefore means 2021 EQ. I should actually, yeah. Hold on, I will do. So if we consider this surpass, this is then the low, which then this is the high, which means this needs to be higher than this. So if this is higher on the weekly, it would, if we traject it, it would be in this area somewhere, and then it would continue onwards above this line. Obviously, in theory, I mean, this is seeming difficult. It would then seem to be positioned within 3085 all the way down to about 2817, like I said, which is these lows here. So I would expect to see some sort of movement like that towards within the range of about 2817, towards maybe this 3000 mark. I don't think we're going to stop right now. I mean, again, there's potential for it, but again, we have been going down pretty significant. But to compare what we have with Bitcoin and Solana, and to relatively compare these lows, it doesn't seem like this equilibrium down at this line at 3085 is actually respected that well in comparison to 2900, let's say. So what I will do, I'll draw an arbitrary range about here, in between these lows and the prints. Let's make this a different color completely to make sure we know it's different. Not black, that's stupid. I don't really use cyan. You can't really see cyan though at all. Oh, that's why, because opacity is like super low. I mean, it's like 40. There you go. So that's it's a bit dark. That's too light. Jesus. Oh, that's horrible. I don't like yellow. I'm already using red. That's all right. That's not bad. It's like a sea green, I suppose, whatever. So this is like kind of what seems to be our range. We can see this is multiple times print over, which obviously coincides with 2817 and the blue line below it. This is where we're printing, and obviously this is where our wick was. So I could reckon the support would be right about here. Okay. I've moved that thing. Oh, Jesus, hold on. I should probably put this in its own group. I'm stupid. All right, so I want to look at some EQs on these ranges. I want to see these EQs, to be fair. And what I did with Solana, I probably will do with. Actually, I don't know if I can be bothered. Ooh, I know, idea. What I can just do EQ, and then copy this one as well, and also do EQ, and then we can go in and we can go ahead and hide everything other than the EQs. Maybe we'll do high and low and EQ or something like that, maybe, because those are the important ones, like realistically. Obviously the expansion line is important, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And we'll hide the ranges. Okay, so these are the highs and lows and the equilibriums for the 2817 on Ethereum. So it looks pretty good. Wait, where's, hold on a minute. There we go. That's really nice. That is really nice. So yeah, I mean, that's where the EQ is, isn't it? That is the EQ. Really good, actually. Especially with these lows and then this bounce here. Obviously difficulty there, and obviously this later wick all the way up to here, just completely stopping it. Pretty brilliant. And obviously the highs and lows are respected decently, but it's more about the EQs when you look at this. 6561 is obviously not going to be important to us. The 729 is too close to actually see. Yeah, not bad at all. Oh, I know what you mean. So of the year. Okay, right. I'll have a look. Well, I'll just use my tool I've got then. Actually, how do I? Okay, I know what I'll do. What's this? Sorry, genius. Oh no, I can't. I'll just do daily. Actually, daily would be easier. Alright, so let's see. Let's see the EQ of it then. Fine. Okay, I'll have a look then. I'll see. I'll be interested to see how close that an EQ of 2021 would be to any of my ranges. So let's get the 1st of January. There we go. I'll just draw that. Actually, no, I'll just drag it across because I've already got the EQ. All right, brilliant. That's 20 frames, stupid. Hell. Actually, we do need that, but we'll figure it out. Oops. Then we'll lock it like that, and this will be locked to the bottom of that, and this will be the top of this. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. Oh, the max. Yeah, true. Actually, it's the new max size, isn't it? I thought it'd be the whole. Yeah. When I draw mine, it's always the it's always a predefined thing. So yeah, actually, yeah. Let me quickly just quickly unhide any of mine, just to see if any of them line up. This one doesn't. But it also lines up. It actually, wait, hold on a minute. Have I got my EQs wrong? Oh no, it's no. Wait, what? Oh, it offsets it. I'm stupid. It offsets it. I completely forgot. It offsets it when you duplicate a range. I was wondering why it looks so wrong. Okay, these are wrong. Bear that in mind. It's 5, 6. I think it's 5, 6, 4. Okay, that's why they were completely. Yeah, I was wondering where this yellow line was. Well, that should be. Oh, it's bloody close. It's bloody close to the 6561 equilibrium, actually. So yeah, relatively close, actually. Relatively close at all. Let me hide these again quickly. And then we can shimmy this across. So we'll do like 600. Yeah, really, really good equilibrium. Very, yeah, it's true. Very important, actually, yeah. I can tell, especially with as of late. But this is similar, though. This is actually decently similar. Which one was it? Obviously, of the low of one of the ranges and the high, obviously the 2817 division, basically. Because what are these lines again? Like, what's the midpoint of the range? Like the equilibrium's equilibrium. Like nearly 2817. Like it's very close. Like this, the equilibrium. I assume maybe you're using the 2021 equilibrium. The midpoint of the equilibrium is relatively close to the 2817, which is obviously a very important number in the power freeze. Which one was it? The 6561. Where's the midpoint of this one, actually? Decently close. Again, not relatively close, to be fair. It's more about the 2817 is very close, very, very close to the 2021 high. Especially the high and the low of this is pretty pivotally close to this. But 100% though, completely agree. But yeah, anyway, I probably reiterate what I said. I think it was 2,900 between 2,817. That range is where I could see our low going. But remember what we had in the weekly. Let me just go back to my ranges quickly so I can reiterate what I was talking about. It being, this is the general area about down here, 2,900 to 2,817. I do think we could continue this movement downwards. Remembering what we already have though, which is these kind of, did I draw on the daily or did I draw on the, well, we already have obviously this downtrend here anyway. Probably feeding more closer towards 2817. Excuse me. But anyway, on the weekly though, we do have this, important range, which we would probably continue to come downwards. But again, our relative low seems to be close to this range, about 2817. So I would probably say, obviously this was it. We broke this because obviously this was a bad time for pretty much everything. But then as you recovering from this, you can see this was our high. This would be our low. As I've already reiterated, you know, low to high. I reckon our low is down here, which obviously we do have this low, but I think we come down again towards 2817. Considering what we're doing in the market, I think 2817-ish area, and then we would have another movement back upwards, probably to another equal of $4,000. Similar to how I think, you know, we come up against. But regardless, it's not, you know, more about going upwards, because again, I would rather say, oh yeah, for Bitcoin we're going to go towards 116. Solana will go towards, you know, $290, $300, you know, in this range. I think Ethereum's in a bit of a different scenario because we've already been in this equilibrium for a pretty, you know, quite a while now, and we've already established highs and lows and trends and where the trends should be placed in the equilibrium for Ethereum. So I do think we will have a continuation towards that area at 2817. Considering, you know, what we're doing in the market, I think Bitcoin's doing the same thing, coming down again to 92 to 94. Solana's got its $195 to $200 area. I think Ethereum has its 2817 to 2,900 or ish area for support, and then we'll come back upwards. So I think we are coming down. I think this has kicked off a negative period, but again, comparing it to the weekly, it just looks like another day in the office. So yes, but I'm 10 minutes over. I do apologize. I have said to myself I wanted to keep to an hour when it comes to actual content. But regardless, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being on the stream. Thank you, KB. Thank you, all of you. I do appreciate the involvement, because I think obviously these charts. No, I don't mean I'm not saying, oh, you've kept me and I'm blaming you. No, I yap a lot. It's not your fault. I didn't mean like that. What I meant to say was I just yap so much about it, especially Bitcoin. I just talk, and sometimes I'll realize I'll say the same thing over and over again, but it's just me trying to say it in a way which makes sense in my head, and it portrays that, if you know what I mean. But I think things are obviously doing the same thing. I think we're roughly doing the same thing across the board. I think obviously Ethereum's already been here, but I think we relatively have the same areas on the lower end. Obviously, I think Mike actually has 92 or 94. I don't know what he has exactly. I think we've already got. I don't know what you think, KB, of what we're doing now. I think Mike said he thinks we're going to go down as well. I think obviously, I think we had a good chance of going up, but we've broken out of that chance now. I think we've really ruined it. But again, like I said, to be fair, on the weekly, it looked like we were going to do this anyway. So this isn't any different, because I didn't actually look at the weekly on the Bitcoin. Obviously, yeah, hold my hands up. But again, like I said, looking on the weekly for not just Bitcoin but for Solana, it does look like we're in you know, a scenario where we should be coming down anyway. So I do think we are going to be seeing that retracement for Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously Solana as well. Or Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum. But yeah, Wednesday, very, very, very cool, awesome thing. Quid game. Obviously, it's not going to be our peak quid game, but we are going to have. I'm going to, you know, hack together a quick application so we can have a little league table of people. Basically, the way I'm going to make a little thing where it reads the YouTube chat, and you guys are going to answer the questions we put in. It's going to detect how long it took for you to answer the question, and if you got the question right. And we're going to have a little game where you have to get the most questions right in the shortest amount of time. So if everyone gets like 6 answers right, it'll pick the person who got them fastest. We'll have a one. Well, obviously, we'll probably vote for it. Maybe we'll do the top 3 or whatever. But we'll have a little system going on Wednesday. So we've got a little game. We've got a quick game. It's not going to be the final product on Wednesday, but we are going to have a little game. So hopefully everyone is excited for that. I will be giving away some Mew for that. So I would recommend you guys join that. I would recommend. I'm trying to think of anything else to say. I don't think I do. We'll see how this goes, I suppose. I do think we're coming down. I think the general footnote is we're coming down, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Shout out to China. Appreciate you guys for making the market go down, as always. China FUD for the win. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do appreciate you all, each and every one of you. I'll be seeing you guys on Wednesday, and I'll be seeing you guys on Friday. Friday will be nearing the week close. Obviously, Sunday's the week close towards Monday. But Friday will be nearing the week close, so we'll see what scenario we're in by Friday. I'm quite excited to see what we're doing. I like doing short time frame TA. But again, if I'm doing Mondays and Fridays and maybe Wednesdays or whatever, it doesn't leave me a lot of time. If I was doing daily streams, I'd be looking at the 4 hour and 1 hour a lot more. But I'm going to try and keep to the daily, the weekly, and obviously occasionally the 4 hour. Because considering I only really do two streams a week. So yeah, anyway, regardless, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you all. Hopefully you have a great rest of, obviously it depends what time zone you are in. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great night. Good TA. Thank you, Kishan. Chat to you, man. The OG. That's it. See you guys tomorrow. Oh, not tomorrow, Wednesday. Goodbye.